'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, in a place perhaps you've seen on TV screens, where social prejudice state the terms of ostracizing infant pachyderms. It's a sordid tale full of heartache and dread, and ends when our hero soars overhead. This story's been loved since 1941, and is now being remade by the great Tim Burton. The colors of the circus are vivid and bright. How odd to choose a man who uses more black than white. His style's bizarre and the movie's a bit dark, but can he do cute or be totally off mark? Will he make it right, like a perfect pot of gumbo? We'll find out soon when Burton releases Dumbo.
Hello, I'm SurferClock.
And I'm TAP-G.
And welcome to What's the Attraction?
Where our work is your vacation. Is there a more quintessential Disney ride than Dumbo the Flying Elephant? Answer, yeah there is, in Fantasyland. Wait.
The movie premiered in October of 1941 amid Disney's other more detailed, much more expensive early films, Pinocchio, Fantasia, and Bambi. Due to its tiny budget of $800,000, its uplifting moral, and its short runtime of only 64 minutes, Dumbo was one of the few early box office successes for Disney. 10 years later, alongside Pinocchio, The Wind in the Willows, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan, Dumbo would also get some real estate in Disneyland's Fantasyland, but would get two attractions, the Casey Jr. Circus Train, and yes, Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
What you may not know is that Dumbo was not meant to be the ride vehicles. No. That distinction went to these guys.
Look out, big elephants on parade.
That's right. Nothing says childhood innocence and nostalgia more than hallucinogenic mental fabrications dancing in coy punchiness from a drunken baby circus elephant. Oh, the whimsy. Oh, the whimsy. We were somewhere near the clown tent, on the edge of Fantasyland, when the champagne began to take hold. We can't stop here. This is elephant country. Someone's been giving booze to these gosh darn animals.
Ironically, I both feared and loathed that reference. Well, at the last second, it was Walt who came in, put the kibosh on the idea, and had the elephants repainted to be Dumbo instead. It opened in August of 1955, a full month after Disneyland opened. Naturally, the ride was a hit, and all 10 Dumbos got swamped repeatedly.
Naturally, such a popular ride had to make its way to Florida, right? It was an opening day attraction set a few feet north of Cinderella's Golden Carousel. I mean, Prince Charming's Regal Carousel, because, we can't have Cinderella's name pressing up such a butch ride with all its manly white horses and testosterone-infused pink and blue color scheme.
It became evident that this classic ride was going to need to increase capacity in order to keep up with demand. In 1993, the ride was upgraded from 10 to 16 Dumbos, and a canopy for shade in the queue was added in 1997. Then, in 2010, Fantasyland got a rude awakening when they began construction expanding Fantasyland. Mickey's Toontown Fair bid farewell in 2011, and the following year, it had transformed into Storybook Circus, an idyllic and nostalgic representation of circuses of yesteryear.
You can tell, because there's elephants and no PETA protesters.
Dumbo closed in 2010 and reappeared in Storybook Circus 2 years later, but not quite how we remembered it.
I suspected it myself. Another case of an imposter trying to dupe a gullible public into thinking nothing had changed. But was I fooled? You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? But nothing gets past the steely gaze of this withered anti-hero.
I don't think Big Boy Surf the Clock was behind this one, Mr. Gracie.
You never know, rookie. He's a crafty devil. Could be in this very room and we may not even know it.
If he was, I very much doubt he would have made a classic Disney ride even better.
Say who with the what now?
When Dumbo reopened to the public, fans and critics alike rejoiced. Instead of one carousel, it pulled a binary fission, and now we have two.
Dude, you channeled that 9th grade biology report.
Woo! Thank you kindly. And perhaps best of all, the queue got a Dumbo ear-sized upgrade.
You may recall our top 10 best queues episode where we listed Dumbo as number... Well, you'll have to look up that episode now, won't you? Oh yeah, we both know it's going to stick in your brain until you do. In any case, we stand by our vote.
Should you elect to enter through the standby line, after a short wait, a cast member will issue you a pager in the shape of a circus ticket. Then you are released to the big top. There's bleachers for adults to relax and cool their heels, a 2-story play place for kids, and even a little mini play area for kids under 3. All in the cool air conditioning, dim lights, and lively but softened music. Definitely beats standing in that chain switchback queue in the sweltering shade, huh?
When your ticket buzzes and Dumbo's pal Timothy gets your attention, you are ushered to another brief queue and holding area before it's time to take flight. Now, the carousels aren't duplicates of the one that used to be in the courtyard oh so long ago. Larger and much more ornate, they also feature paintings of the movie's scenes at the base of the carousel. To top it off, at the bottom, is a lovely water feature that gets colorful at night. This is significant because until 2010, Florida and Tokyo didn't have one on theirs. California, Paris, and Hong Kong did. Why? Well, try building a fountain system while trying to contend with cast member utilidors a floor down. Their new location in Storybook Circus doesn't have the utilidors below. Now, only Tokyo doesn't have a fountain.
Fun fact, folks, former President Harry S. Truman refused to ride the Disneyland version because he was a Democrat and didn't want to be caught riding the symbol of the Republican Party. Because politics. Even Dumbo can't avoid being caught in a political scandal.
Dumbo defeats Truman! Is there a point in a walkthrough for this ride? You all know what it does, right? You climb aboard your baby elephant and you take to the skies for the most endearing 90 seconds you've ever had. And remember to use the lever to control how high or low you want to fly. Oh, and don't forget the photo, Dumbo. If you want a great photo of riding in an elephant, there's a stationary one at the exit so you can get a sweet photo without possibly holding up the loading process.
So now the question becomes, does Dumbo deserve to be the 9th wonder of the universe?
I say absolutely and definitely.
I say, maybe.
What?
Yeah, there's a few things I wanted to say about Dumbo ever since we got around to it, and ever since the two of us actually took the time to go see all the new changes and to experience the attraction ourselves.
Oh, don't hold back. Please tell.
Now, of course, first things first. This whole no queue thing that Disney made the huge promise of, you don't have to wait in a line. Well, I think Disney should try, when they do these things, they should try and dial it, well, maybe not. That it's an amazing concept in theory, that more parks should definitely be trying to practice this.
Yeah.
I just don't think that every ride and every show is going to have the room to do this.
Probably not.
Disney's got the blessing of size, and so they're able to make Dumbo this much bigger and add the big top and add everything. And I had to say, when we were there were a lot of kids just having fun.
Yeah.
And to me, it genuinely felt like they weren't really waiting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So this whole no queue thing has my blessing, my seal of approval. If more places could do that, and especially more of like the bigger rides, and it's just a testament to how lines in theme parks have been evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, between all the interactive stuff that we started to see in the early 2000s,
Oh yeah.
and they're still adding interactive elements to other attractions today. I feel like this is like the big kahuna. This is the big realization of that whole Disney theory of, well, let's try and keep our guests entertained the entire time that they're in line.
Yeah, yeah.
There's something to be said for those old chains and switchbacks. It's certainly traditional, but I think more and more as people turn to, say, smartphones and things like that, they're not really waiting in line, so they're not going to see a lot of this intricate theming that's there.
Mm-hmm.
So to have an area that's for the kids that may not necessarily have smartphones, although the age for that's getting younger and younger, I think this is a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
But talking about the ride itself, hooray, double capacity. This is something that Dumbo has desperately needed.
And that Toy Story and Soarin' are now doing.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about that to see whether that's actually going to reduce the wait time or if that's just going to make more people want to do it, and will we be experiencing the same amount of wait times?
Well, with Dumbo, the line's never gotten to be as bad as it used to be back in the old days when it was always like an hour long.
Yeah, but there's a difference between adding 50% capacity and adding 33% more.
I suppose.
So that remains to be seen, and that'll be interesting when we get around to it. And like, oh my gosh, the theming. Oh, why don't you take the floor on that one? Because I know you were genuinely impressed with everything that they did there.
When they had the Dumbo that was right by the carousel, it kind of looked like a big steampunk toy from Geppetto's workshop. It had, I know, I love that description. Just, it had these big golden gears on it, and it looked like a toy. And there was nothing inherently wrong with that, it just was very antiquated. But now that they moved it to Storybook Circus and fully embraced a circus theme, like this very idyllic theme of circuses of yesteryear, pre-Barnum and Bailey, it just looks absolutely outstanding. It's very subdued and relaxed, but it feels bright and lively at the same time. It is gorgeous.
And what about those fountains at night?
Oh my gosh, that is the closest thing to World of Color that we have. Not even joking. I could stand there at night and just stare at those fountains. I mean, colored water is an extremely simple effect, but it is entrancing. Not even joking.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool to come back and see. I want to take a moment and talk about a little bit about the ride itself. For families, it's amazing. It's like the quintessential Disney ride.
You kind of have to.
Yeah, you can't really say you've been to Disney without riding the Dumbo ride. It's kind of like going there and not doing It's a Small World. Why? Why wouldn't you? But I'm going to take a step back and kind of look at it from my perspective. Now, I'm a, mid-20s theme park critic without any kids, and a bit more of a sense of kind of, I don't know how to describe it.
It's just too simple for you.
Yes. This is a ride that, and I'm not saying, my goodness, I don't think it needs any enhancements to the actual ride itself, because this is, at its core, a family ride for kids, of all ages. And we really do mean all ages, because, this guy here totally enjoys it.
I love it.
You'll ride it every single time you come.
Absolutely.
But when you look at theme parks as each wait time that you have to wait through is like an investment of the total time that you have to spend at a park. Whether you're an annual pass holder, whether you're coming on vacation, everything kind of has different values. And Dumbo, to me, it's like right at that baseline where, if the wait time is about 30 minutes or less, yeah, hit it, definitely, I'd say. But anything more than that, unless you have kids and things like that, it's, if you're a big family, yes, that's still going to be worth your time. But as for me personally, I'm going to be looking for other uses of my time, other investments to say, I've had a genuinely good day. Not saying that Dumbo is a bad investment, it's just not the ideal investment for me as a 20-something theme park critic with, no kids. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and give Dumbo a 3.5 out of 5. Now, before, I might have given it, say, a 2 because of all the frustrations, which we'll go over in a little bit. But as for me personally, I like the enhancements. I say a 3.5.
Okay,
TAP-G?
I'm not going to lie. I think a lot of my view on this ride is very biased from seeing what it looks like in the old days to what it is now. But that being said, this ride is absolutely glorious. The theming, perfect. The queue system, perfect. The capacity, perfect. The wait time. It just makes a wonderful experience. I have to agree, yes, it's your typical hub and spoke spinner. Nothing that fantastic about it. But it always has that feeling of being at Disney. That is a very quintessential Disney ride. But let's just take a step back and pretend that it didn't get any massive upgrades that it did.
Okay.
It's still a great queue system. It's still a fun ride. It's still very beautifully done. So I don't know what else to say about it. It's just extremely well put together. And this, we always talk about Disney plussing the rides.
Yes.
And typically, what we often hear is Disney is fixing what isn't broken. This is the perfect example of what plussing actually means. Removing the elements we didn't like, which means standing or being in the heat, having the kids unoccupied, and removing all that and making it this attraction, which has just made it really perfect. Do I ride this every time I go to Disney World? No, but I wish I could. I just can't think of a reason not to, other than, it's just a very simple ride, and you fly high above Fantasyland and get to see all sorts of cool things. But even that being said, I have to give this a perfect rating of 5 out of 5 because Really, why not? I mean, I would really hate myself if I actually gave it anything less, even so much as a 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I got nothing else.
All right, so that's a 5 out of 5 from TAP-G and a 3.5 out of 5 from SurferClock. Now, Dumbo the Flying Elephant is good for everyone, of all ages, all languages, and all levels of disability. However, anyone in a scooter or wheelchair is required to transfer into their Dumbo vehicle in order to fly.
So, can we recommend Dumbo?
Well, a few years ago I might have said yes, but since the wait for Dumbo was rarely shorter than an hour, the heat made waiting in the queue for a kid's ride nearly unbearable. A classic Disney ride, but it is more of a kid's ride nonetheless. And now it's changed dramatically since relocating to Storybook Circus. Shorter wait time, great rest area, air conditioning, things to occupy the kids' attention, beautiful details, all in the best marketed Disney ride in existence. But
It's still the classic Dumbo spinner ride, so if your 13-year-old isn't impressed, they will remain unimpressed. It comes highly recommended for parents and kids and adults not easily embarrassed. And your 13-year-old? Just ask them to wait for you while you indulge yourself. Let them waste their time what with the Wii U's on their smartphones and the YouTubing of their Katy Perry.
dude, be older. Well, everyone, that just about does it. And as always, I'm SurferClock.
And I'll be done seeing about everything when I see an elephant fly.
Dude, be wider. And thanks for listening to What's the Attraction? Where
Our work is your vacation. TAP-G out. Peace.
Dude, be geekier.